that is to say certain neighborhoods, and they can't get out. And those environments get dumped on. That's where there are lack of resources. Often there is no transportation. There is environmental racism. So there's a link between poverty and environment. Talk to me about the link between poverty and environment.
It's very real. My work has always been based in showing that environmental equality could be used as a tool to create economic stability and opportunities. Because I'm very well known for the type of things like transforming dumps into parks. But ideally, what those kind of projects actually did was just provide a very visual reminder that things, just because they look a particular way right now, don't have to be there always. And so it's a very visual way to do that. But environmental equality is very simply a belief and a principle that no community should have to bear the brunt of lots of environmental burdens and not enjoy the environmental benefits. And we know now that race and or class, it's both actually, will determine where you find the good stuff like parks and trees and things like that, and where you find the not so good things like the waste facilities and the power plants. But it's not just that those are not nice things to be around. They also produce some other very serious burdens, and whether it's respiratory problems because of the pollution, whether it's the fact that we now know that proximity to fossil fuel emissions actually causes learning disabilities in young children. Mm-hmm. And we know that poor kids who do poorly in school go to jail in this country, which adds to the prison industrial complex, that $300 billion we talked about before, but it also helps degrade the fabric of our communities as well. It destabilizes families. It also doesn't provide the kind of different types of economic developments that can go to these different types of communities that can provide a better quality of life, that also could provide real jobs to our communities. And the thing that makes me very excited, because that all sounds very doom and gloomy, and it is, because it is the truth. And we've seen it on reservations, we've seen it in coal countries, we've seen it in inner city ghettos, we've seen it everywhere. But there is hope and opportunity that I think we've kind of missed a lot of. The fact that we can create new economic opportunities around things like how do we adapt our country, in particular our coastal areas and our cities, to deal with the way that the climate is changing. The fact that we can use environmentally sound ways to support things like stormwater management and energy conservation while creating real jobs that provide opportunities, accessible jobs in particular for people that have been left behind by our education system for so long. And whether it's green roofing and urban forestry management, things of that nature that really provide municipal services as well, or even using real estate development as a platform for engagement for the kind of community development that aspires to really help undo the unintended consequences of integration, that made it so that when communities, we were once at one point more racially segregated, prior to when segregation was legal, but then later on, once we had integration, those that had more money were able to leave, leaving some very vulnerable people in these pockets of poverty. So if we can use real estate development to create truly mixed income communities, bring back the kind of resources so that poor people aren't always so poor, bringing in things like manufacturing and different types of commercial opportunities, always keeping an eye toward the type of environmentally sound things that do not continue to destroy the fabric of our communities. We can do that. We've done it. And we know we can do more of it.
Let me ask you a quick question. I want to get deeply involved in this conversation with the most patient person here, and then we're going to mix this up with some more good stuff here. But let me ask a quick follow-up. There has been now for a few years, I think now, about the number of times over the years I've asked about this of you and other guests on my program, Van Jones and others, over the years, about this notion of greening the ghetto. And the suggestion years ago was that the way to lift people out of poverty in the ghetto and in the barrios was to do just that, to green the ghetto, to green the barrio, to find green jobs for those persons. Has that turned out to be, at this point, a bunch of rhetoric? Or can you point any of us to any place where we have seen green jobs come online in communities that are lifting people out of poverty?
Well, I think we've not seen the kind of green job creation that I was hoping would happen, the kind that I actually helped start in the South Bronx, which really was looking at how do you create real markets for the kind of jobs that need to be done in our economy and make sure that we're training people to do that work. I specifically looked at climate adaptation work, things like, training people to do things like green roof installation, urban forestry management, making sure that there was jobs on the other end of it. Why? Because that type of work was something that was needed in our city at the time, and we knew it because it was actually helping to manage stormwater. We knew that those type of things actually help improve air quality. They also help create lower energy bills as well, because a cooler city means you use less energy, especially in the summertime. So you want to do things of that nature. The problem that I've seen, around where green jobs has gone nationally over the past few years is that, frankly, some of my most well-meaning peers, have put the cart before the horse. There was a lot of talk about green jobs within the renewable energy field without really making sure that we could either, one, train people to do that, and that the jobs were there to begin. Was the market ripe enough to make that happen? And we didn't do that kind of work.